नमस्ते दोस्तों, वेलकम टू कुछ बातें ऐसी भी। आई एम हनी
And I am Jenu. Today we want to begin by saluting our brave soldiers.
Operation Sindoor is a reminder for their unmatched bravery and selflessness, risking everything for our safety and peace.
हमारी सेना और उनकी फैमिलीज के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा वाला थैंक यू. You are and always will be our true heroes.
With that, let's move on to today's inspiring story. आज हम एक ऐसी माँ की कहानी शेयर करने जा रहे हैं जो अपनी बेटी के लिए एक बेहतर दुनिया बनाने के सपने के साथ शुरू हुई थी और उस सपने को उन्होंने साकार भी किया।
ये कहानी है सुषमा जी की, जो सिर्फ एक माँ नहीं है बल्कि एक चेंज मेकर है. उन्होंने कैफे अर्पण शुरू किया, एक ऐसी जगह जहाँ ऑटिज्म और दूसरी न्यूरोलॉजिकल डाइवर्स लोगों को मेन स्ट्रीम का हिस्सा बनने का मौका मिलता है.
It's not just a cafe, it's a space where abilities are celebrated and individuals are given the chance to shine, no matter what challenges they are facing.
लेकिन ये सफ़र आसान नहीं था. इस कहानी में स्ट्रगल्स है, सैक्रिफाइसेस है और उन छोटी छोटी खुशियों के पल हैं जो सब कुछ वर्थ बनाते हैं.
आज के एपिसोड में हम जानेंगे कि कैसे सुषमा जी ने अपनी बेटी और बच्चों के लिए नए रास्ते खोले.
तो दोस्तों, अपनी चाय और कॉफी लेके बैठिए और इस कहानी को दिल से महसूस कीजिए,
क्योंकि कुछ कहानियां सिर्फ इंस्पायरिंग नहीं होती, दे चेंज हाउ वी लुक एट द वर्ल्ड.
चलिए शुरू करते हैं. हेलो सुषमा जी, वेलकम टू आवर शो.
वेलकम सुषमा जी.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
सो लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द स्टार्ट.
Okay.
Sure.
So how was your personal journey as a parent to a child who had autism?
So Aarti was born very early. She had fatal distress. When I went for my 36th week checkup, the doctor thought there was no heartbeat that he could detect. And so there was an emergency C-section. And she came into the world, I think, not really ready for the world. She was 1.6 kilos of birth.
Okay.
Scrawny. Just didn't seem as though she wanted to be there. Had a lot of physical health problems in the beginning because she had a hole in the heart. And so that caused her to have a lot of upper respiratory tract infection, which delayed her further than what she originally had, which were developmental delays. And she was in an incubator back then for 2 weeks after birth. And it was a challenging time. Fortunately, because of Indian tradition, I was at my own parents' home. And we were able to take 8-hour shifts of just holding her, which
Right.
she needed a lot of holding and a lot of soothing. She was too tiny and too weak to nurse. So breastfeeding was also a challenge. Eventually the doctor said just stop trying, so which I did. And then it was a better time for both of us. But yeah, it's been a long journey so far. And now, I mean, just having an adult with an autism at home is quite fascinating. It's a very different way of looking at the world. And she certainly, meets that sort of criteria of neurodiversity. She sees the world very differently.
Very
from what I
differently
do.
from all of us. Yeah, okay.
Like,
So she just sees a lot of different things and hears a lot of different sounds around her, which I wouldn't necessarily even think about. Give you an example, her current obsession is with the sounds of aeroplane engines. So she has an iPad that she uses, and when she comes home from work, she'll choose to sit with the iPad just to de-stress or just, be herself. And she will start listening to various aeroplane engines. And she can discern the differences between these engines. For
Which
me,
flight
it's
is-
just noise. And I'm like, Aarti, can you please sit in another room? And which then I remove myself because I do want to give her space. But she even has come to a point, and I don't know whether I'm imagining it, but she can tell which airline is flying over our window. And very often she's right.
Fascinating.
But I don't know. I mean, it's just it's very interesting.
good. Can you share a story behind starting Cafe Arpan? And what inspired you to create a space?
So Aarti and I lived in the United States till 2013. In 2013, we took what some people call the foolish decision of coming back to India and setting up Yash Charitable Trust. Now, Aarti at that time was an adult, and typically what happens to persons with neurodiversity is when they hit adulthood is where the rubber hits the road. It's like, what do you do next? And in India, there's a lot of just challenges with answering that question. When we came back from the United States, it was with the idea of having something meaningful for Aarti and others like her to do, which would give them a sense of purpose, a life in the community where they are contributing to the community at large. We started a dabba service. I haven't the foggiest idea about food, but it was a way, it was an experiment, but it became a hugely successful experiment. We had 5 people with neurodiversity who were part of our larger team, so it was an inclusive team. The dabba service got a lot of positive press because suddenly we were proving in a way that persons with neurodiversity could be a part of a team that was doing something really interesting and really needed, which is providing food. And it was good food, by the way. And so after that, we had a lot more families come our way. They wanted to join the team, but we just didn't have the space. And so my younger daughter sent us a video at that time about a cafe in Manila called the Puzzle Cafe. And we saw the video, and then we said, well, this is a good way to go. Let's try it. And so we did. And Cafe Arpan came into being in 2018, and it's been hugely rewarding, not only for us, for our team members, of course, but also for the community at large, because it's created a space, a special place where you can just be and you're accepted, and there's warmth and there's good vibes, and it's a win-win for everybody.
So Arpan basically is in office premises also.
The cafe is in a building. It's in a residential building.
No. Do you all have like a small any other branches?
Not of Cafe Arpan. Yes, we do. We have a Cafe Arpan at Accenture in Vikhroli.
Okay,
that's a corporate space, and that's the best case scenario for us. If corporates adopt our model, it would work really well, because then we don't have to pay the rent, and we also don't have to take care of utilities and corporate spaces, and we're providing them good quality food at affordable prices and an experience of being around individuals who are just fabulous.
correct. Yes, yeah. What made you choose India, and why specifically Mumbai as a home for this amazing initiative?
Well, we had a 200 square foot space that we could use to start the dabba service. That was, I think, the primary.
And in Mumbai.
It was all economical.
Yeah.
So it was economical, and then it just morphed from there. We could do this anywhere where we had space. And being that we're an NGO, we're always, tight on funds and need support from the community.
Okay.
What were some of the most significant challenges you had to face while setting up Cafe Arpan?
So in the beginning, as I said, I don't know anything about food, but we needed somebody who would understand what we were trying to do. And what we were trying to do is not run a business, but it was to provide individuals with neurodiversity a quality of life that anyone aspires to have, right? So employment was a big piece of this. And when you talk about employment, it also has to be employment that is supportive to them, that provides them with, that takes their skill set or their strengths into consideration, and then provides them with an environment that is supportive to work in. So we needed somebody to guide us in, the basic setting up of the cafe, even the architecture, the interiors, for example. We have some individuals who have physical challenges, and for them, they needed more space to be in, to navigate. We have individuals who need quiet, so we needed to make sure that the environment was quiet. We needed to have equipment that was safe and that could be run by individuals with developmental disabilities without getting hurt. We needed a menu that could be executed by somebody, again, with autism or some other kind of neurodivergence. So we needed all of these things, and finding the right people at the right time was a bit of a challenge, but we were successful, and they were just very, very sensitive people that we worked with in the beginning.
I'd say mission accomplished.
I would agree. But we have ways to go.
So what does a typical day at Cafe Arpan look like generally? I mean,
So generally the shutters are opened at 11, these days 10 in the morning. We have one or two guys who are very, very proficient at opening the shutters, which is a difficult task sometimes. And then they open the shutters and then each one has a role. So we have somebody who's out serving, whose primary role is to serve and look after the floor. So they would clean tables, they would make sure that all the tables and chairs were well arranged and all those kinds of things. We have somebody else who looks after the cash and the counter and takes orders. So he has to open the system, make sure Swiggy, Zomato, Thrive, all of those are switched on. We have somebody else who works in the kitchen, has to do prep for all the orders that we will get during the day. Somebody else who makes beverages has to make sure that the coffee machine has got enough water, enough coffee beans, chai, there's enough ginger that is grated, and all of those things that you would do in a normal cafe. So it's like any other cafe, except there's a neurodiverse staff that runs it.
So how many people do you employ at the moment?
At the moment, on every shift, we have 5 people. 2 persons who are on the floor, they're servers. 1 who looks after the beverages, 1 who is in the kitchen, and 1 who's taking orders at the counter.
Nice.
So 5. So,
Okay.
and they all do each other's work as needed.
From your perspective, what is the difference between managing employees with special need and typical employees?
It's easier to manage employees with special needs. And when I say that, what I mean is that they are focused on their work. They're focused on being the best possible employee that they can be.
and that's all they're thinking about.
Exactly.
See, I couldn't put it in words when I met them, but like you said, the focus is there. I mean, unko wahi karna hai. They don't want to think of anything else, which is really nice.
There's nothing else on their minds.
Correct.
You know, it's not like, have I had a fight with my husband and what am I going to say to him when I go home, or it's I need this, or I need
इसने
that,
ऐसा बोला,
or-
उसने वैसा बोला,
or
or nothing
jealousy.
like that.
I am jealous of them right now.
There's none of that.
Correct.
It's a single-minded focus on doing their job well. And that's why it makes a lot of sense, to potential employers to hire neurodiverse individuals, providing them the right support systems, because they are going to give the best, their
Yes.
best, and they can work long hours. It is a misconception to think that, oh my God, ye bachcha thak jayega, or anything like that. It really is. We've had people who work 12-hour shifts without batting an eyelid. So there's a lot of, good that
To
will
learn
come
from
out.
them also, yes.
And it makes business sense. I'll be honest. It
Yes.
does make business sense
Yes.
to those who are in it. Looking at their profit margins.
Correct.
The neurotypical employees, on the other hand, there's jealousy. There's a lot of other things that come into
Gossip.
play.
I think
gossip,
80% is that much only, and 20% must be work.
So there's a lot of that comes into play.
I agree. So how do you handle societal perceptions of this or stigmas?
So in Cafe Arpan, we've had maybe over the years that we've been around, maybe 10% or 15% of the persons who come in don't know that it's a special place, and that you have to have a little bit of patience because you have a neurodiverse person making your orders and so on, and somebody with neurodiversity at the counter taking your orders as well. But by and large, when people recognize that we are working and, this is a cafe run by special people, they are very accepting and very, and we have a lot of repeat customers. And they
that's
come
nice.
here, many of them will tell you that we just like to be here.
Correct.
Because of the vibes, because of the feeling of being accepted, being respected. And when the respect works both ways, it's a win-win for everyone.
And what is a message you would like to send through Cafe Arpan?
To the
To all-
community?
Yes, to the community.
I would say that many more such cafes need to be opened, because this is really an avenue for a lot of neurodiverse to get employment. And provided with the right supports, it's definitely a place to be for a lot of people.
Okay. So you've lived in both US as well as India. What is the difference that you've noticed so far?
in the US, the laws are very strong, stringent about how persons with disabilities are need to be programmed for or treated or supported. And it is a society where you can litigate at the drop of a hat. And so it is necessary for people to be, to do the right thing. Now, it doesn't always happen, of course, but it is by and large, it's supported by the government. Here, unfortunately, although we have an act in place, the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act, there's no government, well, I shouldn't say no government, but there's very little government support for the implementation of the law. It's a very good law, by the way. It really puts the person with disabilities front and center and says they deserve, like anyone else, to live in the community and to be a respected member of the community. So that's the framework that it's based on. But it needs a lot of government will to actually implement. And also in our families, we tend to, a lot of times culturally and socially...
the awareness
Yeah,
is
the
not
awareness of the person, the awareness of treating the person as a person just needs a lot of work.
And it's been seen that mothers usually tend to become overprotective about, say, a mentally or physically different child. Yeah, so I guess that is one of the reasons too, that parents are not really very,
it is hard for parents to let go.
Let go.
And to not be overprotective, because the primary reason is their safety, the child's safety. However, at the end of the day, that child is going to have to live independently of the parent. The parent is not going to be around all the time. And we as parents really have to keep that perspective in mind. And I don't agree. You might ask a question, but there'll be a home or a hostel or somewhere where the child will be. I think that child has every right to live in the community and should be afforded and given that right. And so parents have to plan ahead.
And what is the kind of support system in India you think should be there for, you must have seen in US. So what is the kind of support system? Anything, even transport or, schools or specific classes in school?
So we actually work a lot with the adults, because that's really where you really have to think about all of these things. When children are in school, there's a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but there is supports available for education. And now we have the NIOS.
Right.
So that also has been very beneficial to a lot of neurodiverse adults also, because you can do the NIOS even in adulthood. However, the other pieces of the adult's life is where we would like to see more focus.
Yeah.
And one of the key pieces of that is for families to plan ahead. Because when we talk of quality of life, it's employment, it's friends, it's having a safe place to be, a home, it's being a part of the community as a contributing member.
Yes.
And these pieces are not in place for a lot of families. And that's where our focus is, to try and encourage families to provide all of these, aspects of life.
Correct.
To their
and if it's like this in Bombay, I mean, smaller cities will have nothing more, right?
Probably, but I would say in the rural areas, we don't, the community is really supportive.
Strong, the family
unit, the community around is strong, and that's really a model that we should emulate, I feel.
So you founded a trust called Yash Charitable Trust?
Correct.
So what kind of programs or workshops does it offer?
So we, as I said, we work with families we work with adults and their families, right? So the neurodiverse adult is front and center of our discussions. And so we encourage families to work alongside their adult to provide him or her whatever he or she needs to lead a contented a life as an adult like anyone else. So this requires us to work with families, to talk about financial planning, to talk about legal aspects, legal guardianship, for example, talk about life after the parents are no more, what that will look like, and all of those intimacy, sexuality, whether it's marriage, whether it's, gender differences, all of those things we discuss with families, because it is important again to be mindful of all of these different aspects of adult life.
So what are the future plans for Cafe Arpan and Yash?
We would love to see Cafe Arpan be spread,
Right.
or the model spread, because as I said, there are lots of neurodiverse adults who need a place to work and to be. So that is something that we would really appreciate happening in the communities, and the best model is in the corporate sectors. As far as Yash Charitable Trust goes, we will continue working with adults. We are looking to skill them in other avenues apart from food and bakery and so on. Looking at other potential opportunities to skill adults so that they can be employed or have set up their own businesses, that kind of thing. So that's the focus, and then we provide all the ancillary support that they need, whether it's mental health support,
Right.
and all the other support
Physical
of
also.
families.
Yeah.
So have there been any success stories so far of adults going out and working like adults and,
Yes, we've got adults. We've got somebody working in the Lalit. We've got somebody else who's going to be joining Kirloskar Cummins and Pune very soon. We've got two people working at the Soho House in Juhu. Somebody else working at Smokehouse Delhi. And we're furthering that, those opportunities and trying to reach out to as many potential employers as we can. We have somebody working in a soap factory and all kinds of different.
That is impressive.
That's
That is very
amazing.
impressive.
Really nice.
So, what are your future plans for Cafe Arpan and Yash Charity?
We are hoping that we will expand our skilling to include other areas of skilling, and we are hoping to take the message out that every adult deserves an opportunity and needs to be part of our community.
But I've not seen anybody else doing this. Why? It is just Cafe Arpan jaisa, I think, एक ही है Bombay में, right? Only your...
Cafe Arpan is a single entity, but
Right.
there are other NGOs who work in the space. There's Mitti Cafe. You may have seen it at the airport.
Okay.
At the arrival hall. She does a tremendous job of hiring.
Right. Mitti Cafe.
Mitti Cafe.
Okay.
Our focus is sort of more, individual centric, but providing all the supports
Correct.
that the individual needs. So we do want their life to be well planned out is not the right word, but so that they don't have to worry in the future, and the parents don't have to worry about their future. So we work on those fronts as well.
So, as a parent, what the biggest adjustments that you had to make in your personal as well as by raising Aarti?
So, when a child is born and the parent realizes, or I realize, that she has a disability, of course there's a feeling of sadness, a feeling of why me, a feeling of is this my karma, or what have I done, or those kinds of things. They happen. And so getting over that feeling of grief is really important. And so I'm very pragmatic by nature. And for me, finishing the grieving process was easy in a way, because I'm like, more importantly, now what next? And so taking those steps towards providing her physiotherapy, occupational therapy, everything that she needed by way of therapy very early on was important to me. And so that's what we did. And going along those lines of what do we need to make her into a competent adult? Because that's ultimately where it ends, right? And that has been the focus all along. I've made mistakes. I'm not perfect, but it's okay. I do the best I can, as all parents do the best they can. And I do recognize, and Aarti recognizes more importantly, that there is a life for her after me. It is only two of us in the home right now.
That's very important.
And so she realizes this. For her, death has always been a part of life. So from very early on, I've never had any qualms about taking her anywhere where somebody we know well has passed on, because she needs to understand that, and she does. So it's, again, I hope that she's in a good place as far as understanding her life and my role in it is concerned.
There's something I needed to ask. When you say grieving, did you really get time to grieve? Because you have to be very hands-on when it comes to people with special needs. Children, infants with special needs, yeah.
And I think I don't know whether I would just sit down. I don't think I did sit and cry. I never did that. But there was always this question in the beginning, right in the beginning, when she was actually born. When I had my C-section, I was supposed to be on bed rest. So there must have been, I think, a time when, I sort of said, oh my God, now what? Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh my God. I must have said that. I don't remember right now.
Most probably you didn't.
What's the advice you would give to other parents raising kids with intellectual disabilities? And, because they do feel overwhelmed. I remember I had met somebody whose son was detected with ADHD with a very high level of it. The first thing she told me was कि मैंने plan करके उसको अच्छे दिन पैदा भी किया, फिर मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों हुआ? So that.
Wow.
So yeah, and a very handsome boy, but only this. So but that is the kind of thoughts they get in their mind. So what would you advise to such people?
Well, for one thing, and if I take your example, there are kids with ADHD and adults with ADHD who are brilliant.
Yes.
And can do a lot in their lives.
Yes.
And I would say the ADHD is not the be-all and end-all. Just like in Aarti's case, autism is not the be-all and end-all. She is much more than her autism.
Yes.
So like that, every individual, the disability is not what defines them.
Yes.
And I don't believe that.
Correct.
So I do believe it's important for us as parents to understand our children as a person. Autism is part of who Aarti is. She needs support for it. But she's way more. She's compassionate. She's loving. She's got a lot more qualities that I would aspire to have.
Yes.
And she sounds confident.
She's she is so compassionate.
Yes.
And I think more than anything, I think that the negative component is not there. That makes them better people than us. I really feel that.
I wish I could just forgive and forget the way she does.
Yeah, exactly. Which most of us are carrying so much load on
carrying
ourselves.
baggage.
Yes.
Right now I'm thinking about Karachi, Lahore and everything.
So my advice to parents, to come back to that original question, is that us parents
Yes.
really need to be the best versions of ourselves as parents as we can be. And I believe that one of the primary ways we can do that is to take time out for ourselves.
Okay.
It is really important to not let the child's needs overwhelm us.
Right.
I can only do so much for Aarti. Beyond that, the universe has to
And will exactly
do the rest.
Yes.
I have to let go.
Yes.
And so I consciously take time out for myself. I go off into the mountains. The phone doesn't work. And I'm totally okay with that. Because the universe will do the rest.
Yes. Agreed. So what is the one message you would want everybody to take away from this? After visiting Cafe Arpan also, and they should visit once. That I would really, really strongly suggest that you should visit Cafe Arpan.
Amazing pastries.
And I loved the ambience. I really liked it. For a change, you didn't have people judging you. For a change, you didn't have people watching you. Nothing. They were doing their own thing. It was really, really a lovely experience.
Thank you for that. So I think it is really, really important, again, to see this in the larger perspective. We have to see neurodiversity for what it is, which is, it is a different way of being.
Yes, that's
It is not less than.
Correct.
I'm nobody to say that I'm more smarter than Aarti or
Yes.
what. She's way smarter than me in many ways.
Yes.
And we have to accept that is just a difference. And that, yes, some people need support and a lot of support. But it's just a different way of being. I think we need to be able to take a step back and look at it like that, and then the answers come. Rather than being enmeshed in this, what some parents will perceive as a problem.
Yes.
Because they see the disability first. But apart from seeing it as a problem, I would say take a step back and then, you will see the difference and you will really enjoy it.
I can assure you will. It's been an amazing experience. Thank you so much.
Thank
Sushma.
you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for this.
It was heartwarming.
all power to you. You guys are doing an amazing job.
Thank you so
थैंक यू
much.
सुषमा जी। तो दोस्तों, ये थी कहानी सुषमा जी की, एक माँ की कहानी जो स्पेशली एबल्ड अडल्ट्स के लिए एक नई दुनिया बनाने के सपने लेकर आई।
Her journey reminds us कि हर इंसान एक चांस डिजर्व करता है, एक अपॉर्चुनिटी टू प्रूव themselves and live independently.
अगर आप किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन या जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी के बारे में जानते हैं जहां ये टैलेंटेड इंडिविजुअल्स अपना योगदान दे सकते हैं तो हमें कांटेक्ट करिए।
और अगर आप ऐसे किसी इंसान की हेल्प करना चाहते हैं, अभी शुरू करिए। एक छोटा सा एफर्ट एक बड़ी बदलाव की शुरुआत हो सकता है।
हमें अपने थॉट्स या इंस्पायरिंग कहानियां शेयर करना ना भूलें। ईमेल करें @batenaisib@gmail.com या DM करें इंस्टाग्राम पे @batenaisib।
और हाँ, डोंट फॉरगेट टू फॉलो अस एंड सब्सक्राइब टू अस टू कुछ बातें ऐसी भी।
टुगेदर लेट्स क्रिएट अ मोर इंक्लूसिव वर्ल्ड।
मिलते हैं
मिलते हैं अगले एपिसोड में।